Hey guys, Mrs. Zimmerman, I've got a math lesson on fractions today. We are going to multiply them. So you've added them, you've subtracted them, now we're going to multiply. And this is super easy. I only have 4 examples for you, and that'll be it. Okay, so my first one is 1/4 times 1/2. Now, here's what you do. You take the numerators and you multiply them straight across. So what's 1 times 1? 1, and then we do the same with the denominators. What's 4 times 2? 8. Can I make 1/8 any smaller? Can I simplify it? No. So that's it. 1/8. That's all. That's all you're doing. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and that's your answer. Okay, here's another one. All right, the next one I have, 8/9 times 3/4. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Multiply my numerators. So I have 8 times 3, which is 24. So that's my new numerator. And what's 9 times 4? 36. So I have 24, 36. Can I make that any smaller? Is there a number that goes into 24 and 36? Yeah, I could think of a few, right? They're both even, so I could do 2. 4 goes into both of them. I also see that 12 goes into both of them. And we always want to use the biggest number we can think of, so we'll divide by 12. All right? 24 divided by 12 is 2, and 36 divided by 12 is 3. So my final answer, 8/9 times 3/4 is 2/3. It's that easy. Okay, so my next example includes a mixed number. So what if we're multiplying 1/2 times 2 3/4? Well, the very first thing we're going to do is take this mixed number and just turn it into an improper fraction. Okay, so I'm going to keep 1/2 the same. So it's going to look just the same. And then, remember how to do this? We take 4 times 2, which is 8. Sorry, you can't really see that. Hold on. 4 times 2, which is 8. And then we add 3. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11. So my new numerator is 11. And I put that over the same denominator, which is 4. So now I have 1/2 times 11/4. Not bad. 1 times 11 is 11, and 2 times 4 is 8. So I have 11/8. Can I keep 11/8? Is that a final answer? No, right? It's an improper fraction, so we have to change it by dividing. You might be able to do this in your head, so if you can, great, but if not, we just divide, right? The numerator goes on the inside, and the denominator becomes our divisor. How many times does 8 go into 11? Once. 1 times 8 is 8. And I'm going to subtract and get 3. So now, using this division problem, I can write a new answer. My 1 is the whole number, and I turn my remainder into a fraction. So I put the 3 on top, and I keep my same denominator of 8. So 11/8 is really 1 3/8. Okay, let's try one more like that. All right, so what I've done this time is 2 mixed numbers, okay? So we have 1 7/8 times 2 2/5. First thing we're going to do is just switch them to improper fractions. It makes it easier for us to multiply. Okay, remember how when we added and subtracted, we could line them up and, you know, kind of do things a little bit differently? When we multiply, it's just easier to switch them to improper fractions. Okay, that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to take 1 times 8 is 8, and then we're going to add 7, and that's 15. So my new fraction is 15 over 8. I keep the same denominator, okay? And then I'm going to multiply and do the same thing. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2, 10, 11, 12. So now I have 12 over 5. Okay, next thing we're going to do 15 times 12. If you're not sure what that is, right, you could come over here, do 15 times 12. You could use your multiplication chart. I know that it's 180, so I'm just going to write 180 as my numerator. And then what's 8 times 5? 40, we know that. Okay, so now I have 180 over 40. That's an improper fraction, so we're just going to divide to change it. You probably can't do this one in your head. If you can, awesome, but we're just going to divide it off to the side. Okay, so we're going to put the numerator on the inside and the denominator on the outside. Now, we could do some guess and check, but I know that 4 would go into 18 4 times, so 40 would go into 180 4 times. Right? Because that would be 160. So I'm going to subtract and get 20. Now I can do my new fraction. 4 is my new whole number. My remainder goes on top, and I keep the same denominator. Okay, so I'm going to erase this now so it's out of the way. And here we go. Now I have 4 and 20ths over 40ths. I can simplify that, right? There's a lot of numbers that go into both of these, but I see that 20 goes into 40. So I'm just going to divide by 20 on the top and bottom. So I'm going to keep the 4. 20 divided by 20 is 1. You still see this over here? Okay, and then I'll switch. 40 divided by 20 is 2. So now, after all this multiplying, my final answer is 4 1/2. Okay, so that's how you're going to do mixed numbers. You just change them to improper fractions, and you just multiply straight across. Okay, I'm back. I got a shortcut for you. Okay, so I just showed you how to do it that way. Now, when you multiply fractions, there's a shortcut, and it's called cross-simplifying. Okay, so here's how we cross-simplify. Remember how we had all those really big numbers, and we kind of had to figure out what to do? Okay, there's a really easy way to do that, and that's by looking at numbers that go across from each other like this. Okay, so if we have 5 and 15, I could think to myself, what's a number that goes into 5 and 15? 5, right? So I could take 5 divided by 5, and that would be 1. What's 15 divided by 5? 3, right? So I could cross that off and get 3. Is there a number that goes into 8 and 12? 4, right? 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now I can just multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, we have 9 over 2. To turn that into a mixed number, you could do it off to the side, or we could just ask ourselves, how many times would 2 go into 9 without going over? 4 times, right? Because that'd be 8. How many would be left over? 9 minus 8 is 1. And I put 2 on the bottom. 4 1/2. See how much easier that was? We got the same answer, but it didn't take us nearly as much work. Okay, so when you're multiplying fractions, when you get to this point where you just have 2 regular fractions, you can cross-simplify. Find a number that goes into these numbers and those numbers, and you'll be good to go. Okay? Good luck.